In the quiet rural town of Homa Bay, Kenya, a love story unfolded that will soon take a tragic and shocking turn. What began as a relationship between a young, ambitious university student and a powerful political figure quickly spiraled into a tale of betrayal, murder, and relentless pursuit of justice. Their ill-fated affair, marked by secrecy and scandal, captivated the nation, exposing the dark intersections of power, politics, and gender-based violence. She was a vibrant and determined woman. She found herself entangled in a relationship that promised financial support and security, but ultimately led to her untimely and brutal death. The murder of this woman, who was 7 months pregnant at that time, sent shockwaves throughout the country, igniting widespread outrage and fervent demand of justice. The subsequent investigation and trial of the governor not only revealed the depths of corruption and impunity in the country, but also highlighted the vulnerability of women who are often exploited by those in positions of power. This tragic story is not just about the fall of a prominent political figure or the heartbreaking loss of a young life. It is a reflection of the broader societal issues that continue to plague Kenya. As the nation grappled with the horrifying details of this woman's death, her case became a powerful symbol of the fight against gender-based violence, the exploitation of women, and the urgent need for accountability in the corridors of power. Through this narrative, we delve into the complexities of their relationship, the harrowing events leading up to the murder, and the long journey towards the justice that followed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tragic story of Sharon Otieno and Governor Okoth Obado, a tale of love, power, betrayal, and pursuit of justice. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Welcome. The story of Sharon Otieno and Governor Okoth Obado unfolds against the backdrop of Kenyan society, where power and influence often intersect with vulnerability and exploitation. This is not merely a tale of an affair gone wrong. It is a reflection of the systemic issues that plague many societies, where the power can sometimes operate with impunity and marginalized are left to suffer the consequences. Kenya, a country of immense cultural diversity and political complexity, has seen its share of scandals involving its leaders. The case of Sharon Otieno, however, stood out for its sheer brutality and the stark contrast between the promise of a young woman's life and the violent end she met. This story captured the attention of the nation and the world at large, serving as a grim reminder of the dangers that can arise when power is abused. Sharon Otieno was born in 1992 in Magare Village, Homa Bay County, located in the western part of Kenya. Her family, though not wealthy, was supportive and nurturing, instilling in her the values of hard work and ambition. Sharon grew in a close-knit community where everyone knew each other, and where the aspirations of a young woman like Sharon were often tempered by the harsh realities of rural life. Despite the challenges, Sharon was determined to carve out a better future for herself. She was an intelligent and driven individual, known for her outgoing personality and her dedication to her studies. After completing her secondary education, Sharon enrolled at Rongo University, where she pursued a degree in medical records and information management. Her choice of study reflected her desire to make a tangible impact on the world, to contribute to the well-being of others through her work in the healthcare sector. At university, Sharon quickly became a popular figure. She was involved in various campus activities and was known for her lively presence. Her beauty combined with her intellect made her stand out, and she soon caught the attention of many, including influential figures within the local political scene. It was during her time at Rongo University that Sharon met Migori Governor Okoth Obado, a meeting that would set her life on a tragic course. Governor Okoth Obado was born in 1957 in Migori County, a region known for its political activism and economic challenges. Obado rose through the ranks of Kenyan politics, eventually becoming the governor of Migori County in the year 2019. His journey to power was marked by perseverance, strategic alliances, and an ability to navigate the complex political landscape of Kenya. As governor, Obado wielded significant influence in Migori and beyond. He was a figure of authority, respected by some and feared by others. His administration was known for its ambitious projects aimed at improving infrastructure, education, and healthcare in the county. However, like many politicians in Kenya, Obado's career was not without controversy. Allegations of corruption, mismanagement of public funds, and abuse of power often swirled around him, although he managed to maintain his position and influence. Despite his public persona as a committed leader, Obado's private life was marred by scandal. He was married with children, but his extramarital affairs were an open secret. These relationships often involved young women who were drawn to his power and wealth, and who, in turn, became vulnerable to exploitation. Sharon Otieno was one such woman, and her involvement with Obado will prove to be fatal. Sharon Otieno's relationship with Governor Obado began in late 2017. The initial attraction between them was fueled by a combination of factors: Sharon's youth and beauty, and Obado's power and wealth. The relationship was facilitated by Michael Oyamo, Obado's personal assistant, who played a crucial role in arranging their meetings and ensuring that their affair remained hidden from the public eye. At first, the relationship seemed mutually beneficial. Obado provided Sharon with financial support that allowed her to live a more comfortable life. The governor would frequently send her money through mobile transfers, amounts that ranged from 50,000 Kenya shillings to 100,000 Kenya shillings, or even more, depending on her needs. These funds were used to pay for her university tuition, living expenses, and other personal needs. Sharon, on her part, offered the governor companionship and loyalty, and she was careful to keep the affair discreet. Their meetings were carefully orchestrated to avoid suspicion. They would often meet in luxurious hotels in Nairobi, where they could enjoy each other's company, away from the prying eyes of the public. Sometimes, they would rendezvous in more secluded locations in Migori County, places where they could be assured of privacy. Michael Oyamo was instrumental in arranging these meetings, acting as the go-between for Sharon and Governor. However, as their relationship deepened, Sharon began to expect more from Obado. She was no longer content with just the financial support. She wanted a commitment, especially after discovering that she was pregnant. This pregnancy would become the catalyst for the tragic events that followed. In early 2018, Sharon Otieno discovered that she was pregnant. The news of the pregnancy was both a shock and a source of joy for Sharon. She believed that the governor, despite his marital status, would support her and the child. Sharon saw the pregnancy as a way to secure her future and that of her unborn child, as well as to solidify her relationship with Obado. However, when Sharon informed Governor Obado about the pregnancy, his reaction was far from supportive. The governor, who was already entangled in various political and personal challenges, saw the pregnancy as a potential scandal that could ruin his career. The thought of being publicly associated with a young pregnant university student was something he could not afford. Obado's initial response was to pressure Sharon into having an abortion, arguing that it was the only way to avoid the fallout that would come if the news became public. Sharon, however, was adamant about keeping the child. She refused to consider an abortion and insisted that Governor Obado take responsibility for the pregnancy. This refusal marked the beginning of a downward spiral in their relationship. What had once been a mutual beneficial affair now became a source of tension and conflict. As the pregnancy progressed, Sharon's demand for support grew more urgent. She continued to receive some financial support from Governor Obado, but it was clear that the governor was becoming increasingly distant. The once frequent meetings and calls became sporadic, and Sharon began to feel the weight of the situation she was in. Despite the growing strain, Sharon remained determined to carry the pregnancy to term, hoping that Obado would eventually accept his responsibility. As Sharon continued with her pregnancy, the situation grew more dangerous. The pressure from Obado and his associates to terminate the pregnancy increased, and Sharon began to receive threats. These threats were subtle at first, delivered through intermediaries who warned her about the potential consequences of her defiance. However, as Sharon remained resolute, the threats became more explicit and more frightening. Sharon confided in her friends and family about the harassment she was facing. She told them about the pressure to have an abortion and the fear that something terrible might happen to her if she continued to resist. Despite these fears, Sharon refused to back down. She was determined to protect her unborn child and to hold Obado accountable for his actions. During this period, Sharon made several trips to clinics for premarital care. These visits were often conducted in secrecy, and she tried to avoid drawing attention to her situation. She traveled to Kisumu for specialized medical checkups, which were costly and required significant travel. The money that Obado had sent her earlier was used to cover these expenses, but as the funds dwindled, Sharon found herself increasingly isolated and vulnerable. The tension reached a breaking point in early September 2018. Sharon was desperate to resolve the situation. She agreed to meet with Governor Obado. During the recording of this video, new evidence has just come up. Watch out for part 2.